gonna be a good topic today. I'm excited. Oh, my lipstick. I always forget to put my lipstick on. Can't be having dry lips out here on the internet. Should I just do this every single episode? Is that gonna become a thing? I don't know. Let's talk. So I wanted to make this video. It's a topic that obviously I think a lot of people just talk about in general. It's a very hot topic in the church. And so for that reason, I just feel like it's something that we should just be honest and talk about. And I've had a lot of conversations with like my friends surrounding singlehood and how to deal with it and how to not hate the season you're in while also be expectant for the next season that you're going to be in and all the things in between. And so I just wanted to be that person. I want to be that person to talk about it. Finding your person, finding your mate, or letting your mate find you, or whatever the case may be. It's just an important topic and I want to talk about it, so let's just get into the video. If you're new here, my name is Sydney. I make Christian lifestyle, music, and faith content. I am an artist, I'm a creative, I like to yap, and so here we are. So we'll be talking about different topics that just are things that me and my friends talk about, and I figured more people should know and more people should be having these discussions. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but it's been really cool to see this space be kind of helpful for those who might not have those spaces to chat about this stuff that's so important in your life as a human being on earth. So the first thing that I want to chat about is nurturing the desire. I think as Christians, it can be kind of a taboo topic to talk about the fact that you want to be out of the season you're in. And honestly, I don't even feel like this just is isolated to singlehood. I feel like it's something in every season. Because one thing that the Lord just taught me this year is that we'll never be satisfied. As long as we're in a human body, you will never be 100% content with your life. And that's just what it is. And so the quicker you accept that, the more you can learn how to really lean in and trust God and build that muscle of faith and trust. All that to say, there's nothing wrong with being single in this specific topic. I feel like it could go for anything, but in this specific topic, there is nothing absolutely wrong with being in a season of singleness and wanting to not be in a season of singleness. I think the important thing that I have been just taught and I've learned over time is how to nurture that desire and not kill it. I think we use a lot of Christianese in the church, and I think it's so helpful and I get the heart behind it. But one thing that has always been such a hard thing for me to understand is the idea of letting your desires die, like killing your desires and like burying them and like putting them in the ground and killing it and then letting God bring it back to life. I think the heart behind that is to relay the importance of faith in God's plan over your own and not idolizing the thing that you desire above the one who gave you that desire and will give you that desire. But I think it can be just really, it just is kind of like hard to understand. And I don't like, it's not like a Bible verse, you know? And so I think I say that to say we use it a lot, and it's kind of become a theology that we have as far as letting your desires die and killing them and burying them in the ground. But I think it just made it hard because it's like, okay, I know I want to be married. I know I want to have a family. I feel like that's a beautiful thing that God created me to do and be a part of, but I have to like kill that and like, it can't be in me. And and it's like this weird, it's just a weird thing. It's just weird. I understand the heart, but I just want to, for me personally, this is my point of view. It's not gospel. It's not the theology you should have, but it's just my point of view that it's okay to want to be married and it's a good desire and you shouldn't be trying to fight it and pretend like it's not there and kill it and bury it in the ground. I've just heard that too much and I just don't think it's true. What I think is a helpful tool that I have been doing and I've seen others do and they've taught me in how to do it is this idea of nurturing that desire as you would a plant, as you would any sort of seed. So let's say the seed of family and children and marriage was planted in you from the time that you were a little girl or a little boy. and you've always wanted it. You've seen your parents or your grandparents or someone at church or a friend or whoever over time. You've seen all these beautiful things that have nurtured that desire, and it's something that's growing in you. And up until the time that God sends that person into your life, or tells you to go and pursue that person, that's just going to be growing and growing and growing until it comes forth, it bursts forth. It says in the Bible that hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. And so it's a tree. It's this thing that's just so big and beautiful. And it started off as a seed that had to be watered and nurtured. And when you don't see it growing as fast as you want, that just makes your heart kind of sick. You're like, I really want to see this. This is a good and beautiful thing that I want to see happen. And it's not happening. But when it happens, it's going to burst forth and it's going to be beautiful. So I think in my mind, a helpful tool that I have learned is to nurture that desire. How do I nurture that desire? I allow myself to talk about it in a healthy way. I don't complain to God. I'm not angry at the Lord. I'm not nurturing it with comparison and nurturing it with, discontentment with my life. What I'm doing is I'm acknowledging this is what I desire. This is a beautiful thing that the Lord has given me a desire for. And God, and this plays into the next 2 points I'm going to talk about. I trust you. God, I want you to mold me into who you want me to be for my husband. I'm going to pray for my husband. I'm going to nurture that desire for a godly, for me, if you're a guy watching this, your wife, but for me, I'm desiring a husband. So it's like, I'm going to pray for my husband. I'm going to do things and I'm going to nurture my home. I'm going to nurture myself. I'm going to become, more of who I want to be for that person that I know you're going to give me. Instead of killing it and saying like, oh, like, I just want you, Lord. I don't want anybody. I don't want to, because our words have power. That's an important thing. Our words have power. And so if you're constantly telling yourself that you don't think, you're gaslighting yourself into thinking that like you're fine, you don't need anyone, and you're good with just Jesus for the rest of your life and all of these things, you're just gaslighting yourself. And eventually you're just going to be in disarray with your inner man. You're going to be at a point where you don't even know what you want anymore because you told yourself a lie for so long that you don't want what you actually know you want. And so that's the first thing that I want to just relay is nurturing that desire. It's a beautiful thing that God wants for you to do. And so that's the first one. So the second thing that I want to mention is becoming the person that you want in your partner. I just had a discussion with some friends and it was really insightful. A lot of times us as people, humans, and even in the church, believers as well, a lot of times we want to be with someone who's the quote unquote best of the best, or, the ideal person that you want to be with. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Our washing machine was about to walk away. So that was kind of crazy. But I think a lot of times we are looking for someone that we ourselves are not. For example, I saw a podcast or listened to a podcast like years ago, and it always stuck with me. And what they talked about was when we're in search of a mate or we're desiring a mate or whatever, a lot of times we have our laundry list of things that we want in a man for me, or a woman for a man. And some of those things we don't even have ourselves. Some of those characteristics we ourselves, if somebody else had a list, would you check off those things? And a lot of times we're looking and searching for someone that we have not become ourselves. And so I think that's a second kind of part of being content in your singleness, embracing your single season, is to become the person that you are desiring. What I ask for is some of the characteristics and some of the things that mirror who I am, or more. So I can only ask for what I'm offering. I can only ask for an equal to the way that I show up in a relationship or more. And so that's what I'm praying for. And that's what I think has really helped me also embrace the single season that I'm in, is to know that I have space and areas to grow and to mature in the ways that I approach relationship. And so I'd say that's the second thing to keep in mind when thinking about your single season, is that it's beautiful time for you yourself to do whatever you want to do and focus on becoming who you want to be. And as you grow and develop those areas in your life, in your heart, work on those areas that you know that you might not be the strongest in, it's only going to set you up to attract the best of the best for you in the way that God has designed you. And I think that's something as well, just to keep in mind, a little asterisk. The best of the best is not a general term. The best of the best is who God has for you. I'm called to X, Y, and Z. I can't be with someone who's called to X, Y, and Z, even if that's the general consensus of what people like or are into, or personality types or occupations or whatever. So I think that's important too. A lot of times I think Christians nowadays and people nowadays get really hung up on wanting the it person, the it boy or the it girl or whatever. And I think we're missing out on a lot of the beautiful things that God has authored within each of us. And that's why a lot of us might be single today. Who knows? A lot more people got married back then and didn't have a laundry list of things and all these expectations that I feel social media and just the world has nurtured within us over time. So now our standard and preferences are becoming standards, and standards are becoming preferences, and it's just getting wonky. So I'm becoming the person you want to be. If you feel like you've mastered everything in your life that you could at this point in time, and that you've just become this amazing person and you've worked on all this stuff, which is good. If you've worked on your stuff, that's great. Then that leads into my last point of trusting God and trusting that He knows what's best for you. I think when you're leaning into the season of singleness, you have to trust and know that God is orchestrating something that you could not orchestrate in your own life. I would rather stay single than end up with the person that God does not have for me, that is not best for me, that is leading me away from the purposes and plans that God has created for me. I think we've all had experiences where we've really wanted something and it just wasn't God's best for us. And you learn from that and you grow. And hopefully we don't return to things that we've grown from. And so I think that's something that's so important, to trust the Lord, to trust His timing, to trust that He knows better than you could ever. And if you're working on yourself, if you're leaning into Him, if you're listening when He tells you to go to that event, or when He tells you to not go to that event, or when He tells you to say yes to something or to say no to something, that He is leading and guiding you into the plans and purposes that He has for you. I think oftentimes lately I've just been like, whether it's being in my home alone, watching TV at 7 p.m., being able to just go to a movie and not have to worry about anything else, I have learned to find so much joy in this season because I can do things like this uninterrupted. I can go and hang out and do whatever I want uninterrupted. I love going on dates by myself. It just feels like a little trip for me, a little getaway for me. And so to know that I can do that in this season, I'm learning to embrace it because I have faith and trust that this isn't going to be my reality forever. I know I'm not going to be single forever. That's not in the plans for me. That's not what God has for me, and I know that. And so I'm operating in faith and trust, knowing that in His timing, He's going to bring that person into my life. And until then, I'm not going to be sitting around moping, upset, complaining about the status of my life when I could be going and pursuing things that I know I wouldn't be able to in that season I'm desiring. And this spans for work, this spans ministry, this spans any dream and desire that you have. Knowing that when that time comes, we want to be ready for it. We want to have prepared for it. We want to be in a place where we can receive it openly and we're not feeling like we missed out on a past season. I think it's just something beautiful to note that every person, every season of life, everybody wants something that they don't have. Everybody wants something that they have not in their hands at that present moment. It's just the human condition. And so as soon as you get married, you're going to want to have a kid. And then as soon as you have the kids, you're going to want a bigger house for the kids. And then as soon as you have a bigger house for the kids, you're going to want your kids to have X, Y, and Z, or you're going to want to be able to do X, Y, and Z that you can't do because you have a big house and you have kids and a family. For me in this season, God has blessed me with this YouTube space. God has blessed me with creating music freely. God has blessed me with beautiful friends that I can spend time with and have sleepovers with and hang out with whenever I want. God has blessed me with doing what I love and creating in a way that I know I would only be able to do in this season, that I have full faith and trust is not going to be forever. So I would just really encourage you in that. If you are someone who is super struggling, know that we're in this together. Spending time with the Lord, he's going to reveal to you everything that he wants you to be doing in this season, because every season is important. Every season is vital. God has given you everything pertaining to life and godliness today. That's Bible. And so if you don't have it, you don't need it. And whatever you need right now, you have it. Survey of your life. Look at the areas that God has given you to steward and focus on those. And I promise you, God is not a God that he would lie. He's going to author your story in the most beautiful way. And it comes when you continue to walk in those steps that he has laid out for you. So that's my encouragement to those who are single, struggling, and trying to figure out, God, what is going on? I'm spending a lot of time desiring and waiting and being patient. Why am I not in this space yet? And maybe take a look at your life and do a survey. I like to do that. And every time I do that, I realize there's a long list of things I can be spending my time focused on that my partner is gonna love when he meets me. You know, I could be sitting around doing nothing, being impatient, just sad and moping, or I could be pursuing that business, or I could be pursuing that goal to do this or do that. And it's only gonna make me even more attractive for the guy that God has for me, or the girl that God has for you as a man. I wanna be the best of the best for my partner. And so that's what I'm focused on. And I hope that you are too. And so I hope this encourages you. I'm gonna end it here. I'm so thankful that you guys are part of this journey. I'm so grateful to have this space to share. I feel like a lot had to happen for me to embrace the season that I'm in, and I'm in it. And there's so much confidence when you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I promise you. So I hope this is encouraging, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, bye.